Happening now, the latest on a possible new business opportunity for Chautauqua County. Plus, we hear from Chautauqua County's district attorney about his re-election bid.
And it's another day of blue skies smiling down at you, but we've got a couple days of showers in the forecast. I'll talk about it next. The News at Noon starts now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now on this Friday. I'm Justin Gould. Chautauqua County's executive says he wants to sit down with developers working with Amazon to discuss bringing their Western New York distribution center to the county. Executive P.J. Wendell, in an interview with us this morning, says the county's industrial development agency recently reached out to developers after he saw a television news report discussing the opposition to the project in Grand Island. Wendell says the IDA may be able to provide tax incentives for the company to come to the area. However, he wants to sit down with them to find out where their needs are specifically.
You don't want to sell your soul sometimes when you do these projects, but you want to make it inviting for people to go there. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're doing things properly and making sure that our tax base and, other areas are going to be covered with this. We don't want to, give them everything just to get them here. We do want to make it, we want to sit down and do our due diligence and make sure that we provide every effort, for a win-win situation.
Now, Wendell is pushing property at the Mason Industrial Complex in the town of Ellicott and land in Ripley off of I-90. We will continue to follow this developing story and bring updates at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. A 70-year-old man with dementia has been found safe in the town of Poland. Town of Ellicott police say Ralph Heater first went missing early this morning from his West Ellicott home. Now, Heater was believed to be driving his Chevy Impala and reportedly took the family dog with him. Police say both Heater and the dog were located safe later this morning. Well, the U.S. Postal Service has long said rain, snow, heat, and the gloom of night are no concerns of its system. But what about mail-in ballots? Our John Lawrence takes a look.
The 2020 presidential election takes place in just over 80 days. Some will take part in the political process by putting their ballots in the mail. President Trump wants to block an expansion of voting by mail by refusing to support funds for the Postal Service.
One of the reasons the post office needs that much money is to have all of these millions of ballots coming in from nowhere, and nobody knows from where and where they're going.
A spokesman for presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden calls the president's stance an assault on democracy.
Pure Trump.
Okay, guys, let's go. Let's go. Come on.
He doesn't want an election.
The president says a coronavirus funding package is on hold due to Democrats demanding money for the USPS.
They want $3.5 billion just for the ballots themselves. Why it's so much, I don't know.
There is no evidence mail-in voting is prone to fraud, and Democrats say Mr. Trump's claim is all smoke and mirrors.
He's been afraid for a while. He knows that on the legit, it'd be hard for him to win. So he wants to put obstacles of participation.
Mail-in voting has been used across the country for decades. It has proven to be safe. It has proven to be effective.
Despite the frequent blasting of mail-in ballots, multiple people in the Trump administration, including the president himself, vote by mail. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
All right, John, thank you. A federal judge in Pennsylvania is ordering the Trump campaign to show proof of its claims of vote-by-mail fraud in the Battleground state by today. Meanwhile, the United States Postal Service started to remove hundreds of mail sorting machines in June. According to postal workers, postal offices say this will make the service more cost-effective. The Bust Eye Apple Festival, a long traditional event for local residents, has been canceled for the year because of state limits on crowd sizes. That according to one of the group's organizers. Organizer Judy Schultz tells WNY News Now The cancellation will cost the Bust-Eye Historical Society as much as 90% of its income for the year.
We were told that we couldn't have any more than 50 people at the festival. And we already have over 100 vendors, about 50 demonstrators, plus all our volunteers. So we've already surpassed that 50 mark. And we have 20 acres, so we still can't use the festival on our grounds.
Schultz says the festival not only funds the Historical Society, but also helps fund the Bust-Eye Volunteer Fire Department, which shares parking lot revenue. She notes the cancellation because of the state's restrictions hurt not only the society, the fire department, but also the many vendors and public who attend the event. Now, planning is already underway for next year's festivals and other events such as a pie sale, Victorian dinner, and a Christmas open house. The society is seeking donations to offset the massive loss of revenue brought on by this cancellation. For more, you can visit their Facebook page. Well, we thank everyone for joining us here for WNY News Now as we round out another week. Let's check in with the comments and say hello to Greg. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. Good to see Lisa as well. Good to see Joanna, Sue, Brian, hello to you. Good afternoon to Matthew, Kayla, Wallace, and Pam as well. Hopefully everyone is having a good day and looking forward to a good weekend. And certainly we've been blessed weather-wise the last couple of days. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us now with a first look at our weather forecast. And I think, Dakota, a lot of people are happy to see the nice sunny, summertime conditions, but they're looking for some rain too out there. Sunny summertime condition. That's a tongue twister.
Yes. That's a nice little tongue twister there. But yes, I mean, a lot of us have been enjoying the sunshine, but some of you do need the rain, especially if you have a garden. You may have noticed Mother Nature has not been giving a lot of rain so far this past week. But hey, it's great in Erie right now over the Mill Creek Mall. 82 out there right now and traffic okay over Peach Street. So radar today, just like it has been the past couple of days, dry, nothing going on. So it's going to be another sunny day today, so enjoy it while you can. 79 here in town right now, 79 also in Mayville, 81 over in Randolph, 79 in Corey. But the bigger story is the dew point. It's came up a little bit, so dew points are averaging lower to mid 60s across much of the area. So when the dew point reaches into the 60s, that's when you start to feel the humidity in the air, and it'll stay for tomorrow, but then we shove another front through the area, and it's going to be at least some nice cool air into next week. 83 was the high yesterday. 65 is where we started the day, so it was kind of a muggy night. 95 was the record high on this date back in 1988, and 42 back in 1986 was the record low for this date. So through the afternoon, gobs and gods of sunshine, lots of blue sky smiling down at you for today. Just a few clouds through the afternoon. Humidity up just a little bit, 79 at the immediate water to 86 while inland with a northeast wind averaging about 7 to 14 miles per hour. If you need the rain, we've got it in the forecast for the next couple of days, and then much cooler air for next week. We'll talk about all of it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you. A Jamestown man could spend the next 10 years or even life in prison after he was indicted by a grand jury in Buffalo. 20-year-old Wade Pulisic was indicted on drug trafficking and gun charges yesterday. The indictment stems from a September warrant search of his Tower Street residence conducted by the Jamestown Metro Drug Task Force and Jamestown Police SWAT team. Now, if convicted, he would also face a $10 million fine. Well, human trafficking isn't something that only happens in other countries, as evidenced by a 70% increase in cases here in New York State this year. In reaction to the rising tide of human trafficking cases, New York State is now launching a social media campaign to spread awareness and dispel certain myths about the issue. Governor Andrew Cuomo has announced the social media blitz will post a series of graphics like this about misconceptions about trafficking, including facts that counter the falsely held myths. Cuomo says the facts about human trafficking are deeply troubling and even disturbing. Now, since the state task force was established back in 2007, New York has had more than 1,500 confirmed victims, with the vast majority for sex trade, 300 for labor trafficking. Well, coming up next, Chautauqua County's district attorney talks about his re-election campaign. And later on, our Pet of the Week segment returns with a furry friend who's looking for a good home. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I grew up in a single-parent home. We were raised by my mom in a one-bedroom apartment in Queens, and I slept in what was supposed to be a dining room just off the kitchen. We were poor and fell behind in our bills. More than once, our electricity was shut off and there were eviction notices taped to our door. I remember walking into our kitchen and finding my mother standing by the stove, crying to herself because she didn't know what to do and felt helpless. I was about 9 or 10 when our apartment was robbed. I remember arriving home with my mother and brother and finding the door open, feeling confused because the first thing I saw was that our television, a set which forever sat on a stand in the living room, was missing. I know firsthand what it's like to be a victim, to be assaulted, robbed, to have things taken from you which you're never going to get back, and to be scarred by experiences which 30 and 40 years later still haunt me. We're lucky enough to live in Chautauqua County where by and large we feel safe, but unfortunately bad things do happen here. I want to be the district attorney who personally prosecutes the most serious crimes and who's there for victims every step of the way. These are the people I want to represent, to fight for their justice, to fight for our justice in the courtroom, to help people who have suffered at the hands of others. This is why I want to be your district attorney.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back. Chautauqua County's district attorney says he and his staff have accomplished a lot in the last 4 years, and he's not done yet. The Fredonia Democrat is running against fellow Fredonia native and Republican Jason Schmidt, who was defeated by the incumbent in 2016. Our WNY News Now's Matt Hummel spoke with DA Patrick Swanson extensively during a one-on-one interview yesterday. Take a look.
In your eyes, what advantage do you have over your opponent in this coming election?
Well, I've been doing this job now as the DA for almost 5 years. I've been a prosecutor full-time since 2011. And, you know, my opponent has limited prosecution experience. You know, he talks about his time in the DA's office. He was part-time. You know, we have 5 or 6 attorneys here right now that have more prosecution experience than he does. And it's not close. It's, you know, my chief assistant has 30 years of experience. And I wonder, you know, what staff is he going to bring in if he were to be in this position? You know, anybody that he brings in is going to have less experience than the people that are here now. And he has far less experience than many of the people that work here. And, you know, the advantage I have is that I'm doing this every day. I've done it for every day. I've navigated this office through some of the most sweeping criminal justice changes this state has seen. And I've done that while assisting our local police departments and training our staff and our attorneys here on how we're going to manage these changes. You know, for example, raise the age and our bail changes and our discovery changes. And now we're in the middle of a pandemic where I had to initiate a plan real quickly so that our office remained stable and was able to handle the cases coming in, because even though we had a pandemic and everything was closed, we still had cases coming in. And our plan that we put together was modeled by a number of other DA's offices across the state. And getting ideas from them, we've employed here as well. So I'm not going to take credit for everything that I've done here during the pandemic, but a lot of what we've done, I was able to sit down with my senior staff and we devised a plan that works. And we've continued to do our job throughout this pandemic. And some of that's because of the commitment we made to technology over the last couple of years to move into a completely digital case management program, which has really saved us and allowed us to continue to work even if we have to be at home.
One of the concerns that your opponent has expressed through not just us, but the media in general during this election season is he'd like to see the district attorney's office, especially if he was to be elected, reach out more to the victims of felony crimes. Do you believe that your office could do better at reaching out during the development of these cases?
There are always going to be individual cases where, when we do our review, we wish we would have done this or that. But it's mildly insulting to say that my staff doesn't communicate with victims. We're very committed to that. We've actually increased the number of people that work in our victims coordinator's office, compliments of the grant given to us by the state, because of that need. My attorneys are regularly and frequently in contact with the victims of our crimes, and to suggest otherwise just isn't managing the truth very well. I saw his interview with your network last week, and he talked. The standard status quo political line when you run against the incumbent is they're not doing a very good job, and I'll do it better. I didn't expect him to say that we've done a knock-up job and we get everything right. That wouldn't be a very good election platform to run on. But to call my ADA's underlings, it's one thing to talk about what the DA is doing and you're in a race against him, but he actually called my assistant district attorneys underlings because they handle violent crime. We had over 200 violent offenses in this county last year. He's vowing to handle all those cases himself. He sat right here, interviewed with Justin Gould on your network, and said he's going to handle all the violent offenses. That's 210 offenses last year. I don't see a scenario where he can do that. He talked about how I focus on administration, and absolutely I do. That's one of the qualities I view as a positive. We have a large enough office where I have to do a number of things, including handle the most serious cases. And for him to suggest that I'm not handling the most serious cases, that's not accurate. It's not truthful. I've handled all of our homicides. There's one case maybe that he could say I didn't handle. We took a shot and we prosecuted the Hodnick case because of time constraints. And we were less than, we would have preferred a different verdict than that. But I didn't try that case because I was preparing for another trial that started 2 weeks later. And you can't say to people, I'm going to do all of these things because this job is so multi-hatted that you have to be able to do a number of things at the same time. And you can't place yourself in the role of being the only person that prosecutes in an office this size. If we were the size of an Allegheny County or Schuyler County, there would be the DA in those counties handles all those cases because they have like 300 cases. I was joking with my colleague from Yates County and Schuyler County the other day, asking them, what do you guys do with all your time? And it was a joke, but because they're busy. But they handle, their counties have 300 cases a year. My prosecutors handle 287 on average. So, to say you're going to do all of this and do all that, those are sweeping promises that I don't make. I'm not going to make. We're going to do our job the best we can. I'm going to continue to train and hire the very best people to work in this office. And that's how I go about doing my business. You begin to make promises as you become a politician. And in this office, you're a prosecutor. And what you're doing is seeking justice. And sometimes that means a jury reviews the evidence and they find someone not guilty. That's justice. Our criminal justice system is not set up for the prosecutor to win every single time. There is a very high burden of proof. And the system's set up so that it's fair, so that the guilty get convicted and the innocent go free. And if it were set up for the prosecutor to just win, there wouldn't be trials. There would just be guilty pleas. And we get a lot of those too. So, we've done a very good job here. I'm very happy with the staff that I have. I mean, they're amazing. And to insult them by calling them underlings, I really took offense to that when I listened to his interview last week.
And just segueing on here, I know earlier in our interview here, you mentioned that the overall conviction rate in your office was, would it be fair to say, between 95 and 100%?
Yeah, we're above 95%. We convict almost 99, a little over 99%. I mean, the reality is most of the cases in our county get resolved with guilty pleas. And, some people go through a treatment court option and then their case is dismissed sometimes because they've satisfied a very vigorous treatment court program. But we try to find a balance, and it's a difficult one. You have to evaluate each case individually, and that's the unfortunate part about having such a high caseload, because you really want your prosecutors to be finding justice the very best they can in every single case, and that's when you got piles and piles of cases in front of you, where you have almost double what the average state caseload is. That some days that's tough, but I'll tell you what, I can't say enough about my staff.
We've had viewers express concerns with you and your office regarding those few cases that may not have gone your way, the ones that are, I guess, had higher notoriety within the media.
Sure.
How do you address their concerns, especially as we get closer to Election Day?
Yeah, as a public official, you welcome regular and frequent evaluation. It's part of the job. People want to see certain things, and they want to see the same result every time. But we've had some very interesting cases over the last 4 years. My office has had to prosecute the first woman charged with a homicide trial in Chautauqua County ever. We've done that 3 times now. All of them claiming self-defense. So we've had some very, very interesting cases come our way. And what I can tell those folks that are wondering, well, how do people get acquitted? Well, people get acquitted because the level of evidence isn't there. There's a high burden of proof to convict someone of a crime in this country, and there should be. The prosecutors that I have in this office and myself, we train regularly on trial techniques. We're actively engaged in the New York State Prosecutors Training Institute. We're doing things to make sure we're doing our jobs the right way. And we put all the evidence in front of these juries, and we ask those people to make a finding of guilt or innocence, and they do that. And the system works. We have quite possibly the best criminal justice system in this world. And it's certainly not perfect, but what it does do is it requires the state to provide a lot of evidence to convict someone and take their liberty. And the unfortunate part of that is sometimes the evidence isn't there. You don't have the witnesses that you need. We're certainly
You can see the full interview with the district attorney posted at WNYNewsNow.com. Well, let's switch gears now and get a check of our weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter.
Well, if you are looking for some relief, it is on the way. Look at the high temperatures over the next 5 days. We're going to be hanging out in the 80s today and tomorrow, but look at how we go down to 71 next Tuesday. Oh boy, that is going to feel nice. Here's a live look coming from downtown right now. 79 is our current temperature as a noon hour. Southeast wind at 9, but again, the dew point up there, 62 degrees, so it's a little bit humid. Are you ready? Blue Jays baseball tonight in Buffalo. Are you ready? Bam! There it goes. 80 degrees at the first pitch time, comes up at 6:37, down to 74 by the 9th inning, so it should go off as planned. And of course, they're taking on the Tampa Bay Rays in Buffalo tonight. Nothing showing up on First Defense Doppler radar, but our weather for the weekend is going to be dependent on these 2 stalled fronts right here. One of these is going to win out. If this one wins, it's going to be mainly dry. If this one wins, we're going to have a little bit of rain. We think that southern front is going to win on the weekend, so that's why we've introduced the chance for showers. You can see Future Scan shows shows you that nothing through today, nothing tonight. So it's going to be great to get out, enjoy anything you want to do today and tonight. Now, tomorrow, scattered showers will start to arrive in the afternoon hours. Maybe a couple rumbles of thunder, definitely possible. But I think the better chance of rain is likely going to be on Sunday. So there's going to be more widespread coverage coming up on Sunday. So zone forecast, the inland areas today, it's going to be another great day. Temperatures up around the 80s with good and plenty, lots of sunshine like the candy, and a nice northeast wind. How about the next 7 days of your life? Right there, 80 degrees tomorrow, 75 on Sunday. Better chance for rain on Sunday, about a 50 to 60% chance there. Monday, another scattered shower chance, and then temperatures go well into the lower 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday, and we stay dry on Thursday, but temperatures return to the lower 80s. Justin?
Thank you, Dakota. Well, we'll end you with this. This week, a local veterans group sent out a call to action to help a dog named Fluffy find a new home with a vet after his owner passed away. This morning, I spoke to Kelly Roberts, the executive director of the Chautauqua County Humane Society, and Carol Johnson, a foster volunteer who is taking care of the furry friend.
Our friends at Chautauqua Hospice and Palliative Care, that there was a veteran under their care at hospice and that he had a little dog. And his wishes for his dog upon his passing was that he find a new home with another veteran. So we were contacted through some folks that we know at hospice, and we said sure, that we would be glad to help in any way that we could. We also contacted, as you said, the Dwyer Project, and together we were working together to find him a new home to a veteran, and meanwhile he's been living with Carol. So it really was, has been a really nice coordination between some local groups on behalf of this little guy.
Certainly is an amazing story to hear that you guys are working so hard to kind of fulfill the wishes of the veteran who passed on. So far, have you gotten any feedback from the community? Has Fluffy heading in the right direction to find a home?
We've had a couple of inquiries, but we haven't had an actual veteran themselves per se apply. So we decided, we were really happy when you reached out to us, because obviously this gives us an opportunity to get his story out there a little bit more. We're sure that we will be able to find him a home one way or another. He's a really nice little dog, as Carol will talk about here in a second, but we're really trying hard to fulfill the owner's wishes for a veteran. And while I'm thinking of it, if I might, Justin, before I forget to say, if someone is interested in perhaps adopting him, they can go to our website, chqhumane.org, and on there they can fill out an online application. At the bottom, there is a space that asks where you heard about the pet, and in that area they could write that they're a veteran so that we would know when the app comes in that they might be a good candidate. If they cannot apply online for any reason, they can contact us by phone and we can send them a paper application.
Now, Carol, Fluffy seems such a cutie. It's the time that you've been with him so far for the last couple of weeks. What is he like?
He's a very, very good dog. He bonded very quickly with me when he first got, at my house. There are other dogs there. He does well with all of them. He is housebroke, loves to go for walks on a leash. He's leash trained, likes car rides. And a lot of the time he'll spend laying on at my feet. I can tell that he was a good companion to his other owner and stuff. I mean, he probably brought him a lot of comfort. He's that type of dog. He's a comforting, loving dog.
So do you imagine? And for more on Fluffy, visit chqhumane.org. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Of course, we're back Monday live here at noon. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. we'll leave you with a live look over Chautauqua Lake. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.